Continuing here. So be very clear. We're in a lot of trouble. Okay. There's all these industries that absolutely depend upon desperate poverty continuing. So if you just ended desperate poverty, there'd be mass unemployment. Do you see the madness there? Say, well, wait, that means that if nobody's poor, then what are we worried about people being laid off? Okay, we don't have to worry about it. You're right. You're right. If you've stumbled upon that fact, that's true. I'm saying everybody should be free. So I'm not just saying, oh, all these people are bad that are doing these jobs that revolve around desperate poverty. Like I pointed out about the social workers. Hell, I could be a social worker. Why not? Okay, but then let's look at the crime industrial. How about our society just being safer? Okay, just think of the perks. People that call themselves fiscal conservatives don't get this. I just don't understand. That if you had a basic income where nobody had to worry about at least their basic essential human needs, and if we've got that wherewithal as a civilized society now with automation and everything, we could produce that much. We could supply more than an abundance, a superfluity, an excess. So we all know that's true. That's math. I can prove it to you. It's like a science. It's the truth. It's just the reality. It's statistics and all that, facts. The way it is. That's how it is. So I can prove to you that we have enough stuff to take care of everybody, so nobody would have to worry. But the crime industrial complex is another huge industry where all these groups depend upon the desperate poverty continues. Since desperate poverty is the main driver, the main inducer of crime. Okay, that's the truth. That's a fact. I mean, homicides, everything's involved there. Even suicides, people losing their will to live because they feel so much pressure and burden and stress. Okay, the source of stress, this is what's doing it to us. So you understand that we're in a lot of trouble here. A lot, folks. Okay, and if we've gotten decadent, like Alex Jones says, he thinks the millennials and all this decadence and this entitlement class. What the hell is he talking about here? He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about here, man. He needs to talk to older people that can set him straight. I mean, I remember when minimum wage had buying power, so everybody had dignity in the land. If you can afford to be a homeowner, you're somebody, right? Okay, you're successful. You've achieved middle class status, the American dream. Okay, but if you can't achieve that anymore, that's gone. So how have we gotten more decadent? That's gone. That ship is so far gone, man. It's beyond the horizon. You can't see it anymore in America, where you can enter middle class home ownership, the American dream, on a minimum wage job. But we used to have that. It's been steadily going down. Okay, because the math proves what I'm saying. Okay. Look, if your cost of living is driven up, okay, yes, artificial or natural, let's say there's just one drought after another, and that's why the prices keep going up. That's why your cost of living keeps going up. We just keep having one supply disruption after another, and that's been driving up your cost of living all this time. Okay, it isn't artificially. Whatever it is, okay, then you need a commensurate adjustment to wages, or else, for all intents and purposes, you just got to pay decrease, mathematically speaking, right? I mean, tell me the difference. If there's absolutely no difference in the effect of one from the other, then tell me. Let's say your cost of living has stayed constant. So you say, I don't need a cost of living adjustment. But I sure don't need a pay decrease, okay? But that's essentially what they're doing. It's like, let's say your cost of living was staying the same, and your pay just kept going down. So your purchasing power kept going down. Your minimum wage job just kept affording you less. That's what's been going on here. It doesn't matter how you slice this thing, dice this thing. The fact is, it all comes out the same mathematically. So minimum wage workers have kept getting their labor, their wages have kept getting stolen. The wages they used to receive. Okay? And you say, but that's regress. You're right. For decades, we've been regressing. There's no progress here. Progressives, what the hell are you talking? What are these people? Define it. Nancy Pelosi, define it. She makes me sick too. All these people. So many of these Democrats. Who are these people, man? But people they misconstrue them as egalitarian, as socialist, and for the people, for the blue collar workers and all this, and it's not true. And because they say, well, we're the kind-hearted ones. We're the ones embracing all the immigrants in the world. And you're just mean, man. These people are, you know how bad it is in their homelands and all this, and you know how rough it is. Well, are we transmitting images of how bad it is in America? Are we? Do you think they'd be clamoring to come here if we were? Let's have the discussion. Is Nancy Pelosi having that discussion? Is Chuck Schumer having that discussion? Is Adam Schiff having that discussion? Any of these people? All these people that the Democrat people think they're the good guys. They're for the common people and for the downcast and the downtrodden, the immigrants, and let them in. And you're un-American because America's a land of immigration. So you must welcome everybody from all over the world. And it doesn't matter if it turns America into a fifth world status. You know, we don't prescribe to the, you teach best by example. No, we're going to prescribe to some nonsensical thing and just accept authoritarian elitism just growing in leaps and bounds and wealth disparity. I mean, no, we're not having a discussion. And the wages just keep falling behind the cost of living and the loss of the American dream and the hopelessness out there for realizing the middle class. Okay, it's just, God Almighty, we're in a lot of trouble. It's serious. Okay, and if you don't think it is, you're wrong. And you're going to find out that Jesus really was the least of men, and you should have cared a hell of a lot more than you have been. I mean, I'm just saying, it's a lot of people that are on board this ship of fools careening to destruction that have been saying with a wink and a nod or semi-consciously, I don't know how, just inadvertently, whoopsie-doo, just buried my head in the sand. I prescribe to ignorance is bliss, but you've got to care about the least of men just like it was you. We've got to fix this problem, and it's simple. We could take the money we're already spending and fix the problem. Do you understand? By buying people houses, let the government know. Who cares who owns the properties? Okay, who cares? Ownership is nothing. It's all usership. We're all just passing through. There's houses, housing available, plenty of superfluity. Nobody is homeless anywhere. Good, let's have it, man. And it's cheaper. Of course you're going to save taxes because that $50 billion a year, once you solve the problem, no longer has to go to Section 8 housing. It's a problem. There's no more homelessness. So nobody's struggling to pay their housing costs. Do you understand how that would disrupt the apple cart, upset the apple cart, and disrupt this current beast system? But this is exactly, precisely what we need to do. But you see how traumatic it's going to be to the establishmentarians and all those that are vested in this system, the beast system, how let down they're going to be. But this is exactly what needs to happen. Okay, if currency debasement is bad, then the opposite is good. That means your cost of living must go down in order for your currency to increase in worth. It must happen, as traumatic as that might seem, and as depressionary, recessionary, or stagflationary as the mainstream media is going to tell you it is, because that's what they're told to tell you it's always bad if inflation stops, because, well, that means stocks and bonds, whoa, oil, oh my gosh, investors, oh, blah, 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 blah. Right? God, we're in so much trouble. So much trouble. I feel sometimes I'm such a misfit in the way I talk and the things I say. I feel like I came to the wrong planet, folks. I meant to go to the planet where people had evolved, where they're not using money anymore. They never heard of disruptive. No, we have clean, infinite energy here. And, no, what's it? You're kidding me. They're that evil and diabolical that there's actually disruptive technologies because it disrupts profits. Explain to me these profits. What is it, like an advantage? Oh my God! That you were living in hell on planet Earth. You were literally living in a prison planet in hell, and I mean that's how different I feel. Okay, and I don't want to feel that way because I'm nothing special. I'm just an ordinary guy. Okay, that's it. But you know what? I mean, this establishment, it deserves to fall hard, man. All these people are just, there's no such thing as too big to fail. Of course they need to fail. We should have shaken this thing out in 2008, taken that opportunity to do the wash and let it come out in the wash. Did we? No, hell no we didn't. No, it gave a little pinprick to the well-heeled. They didn't feel nothing. They got a nice little trim to handsome, make them look a little better, clean them up a little bit. When they should have gotten a jagged ass haircut with scalping so bad it dug in and they were bleeding all over the place. That's what they deserved by overextending themselves recklessly, impetuously, and worst of all, deliberately, intentionally blowing out the pipes of the economy by dumping all that money on the housing market, just taking that thing as far as they could, pushing that envelope and kicking that can, and they're still doing it to this day, telling you that high housing costs are a good thing. Low-hanging fruit? No, we're not going to talk about that. It's how, the investors, oh, first thing you do out there, you got to go snap up the housing. You want to get into the real estate business, you go, first of all, you snap up all the low-hanging fruit, the fixer-uppers and all that, the housing that's coveted by the poor and aspiring to have middle-class home ownership and all that, the American dream. You got to go dash. The first thing you do, man, is you got to make sure that they don't. No, your job is to keep them down. So you go buy it all. You grab all that, hand and fist, hand over hand, and just grab all that low-hanging fruit, man, and dash their hopes and dreams of realizing middle-class home. That's what you do, man. That's how you succeed in America today. That's, jumping on the bandwagon in time, and you getting out there and pushing for higher rents and telling everybody how it's good and how high housing costs are good, and the government gets more taxes, and that's good for their coffers, and they can give themselves raises and buy their equipment and provide services. Oh man, I mean, you know what? We're in so much trouble, my friends. I just cannot convey it more powerfully. I mean, I just can't. I cannot embellish this. I cannot exaggerate this. I cannot be hyperbolic enough to convey the fear I have of just what it's going to take to turn this ship around, man. And it's the need for it, the imperative that we turn this ship of fools around, because we're all going to be just judged in a bad way. And I don't want anybody's blood on my hands or head, and that's what it is, metaphorical blood. When you are too vested in this system at all, even, you've got to be removed. Jump ship, man, and get away from that ship, because it's sinking, man, to a watery grave, being sucked down in a vortex, a whirlpool, to the gates of hell, man. And all those people that can tell, no, keep having faith in the establishment. No, trust us. The Schumers out there, Democrats and Republicans and conservatives and liberals profess, they're just labels, they're just words, they're just terms. We're not going to sit down and have a discussion about the meaning of those words and have a meeting of the minds. The socialists and the capitalists, we're not going to sit down and define these terms and have a criteria that we say, well, no, you're really not. You don't fit the bill. We're not going to have that discussion, are we? No, we're just going to blindly go and just follow this ship of fools and this establishmentarian beast system to destruction. Not me, my friends, and I recommend everybody get the hell off it, man. Yeah, at least in your heart and mind. We're all stuck here on the ship physically. Even if you've been dragged on the ship kicking and screaming, you don't have a choice. If you want to exist, you got to pay a cost of living tax. You got to feed the beast. You got to comply. You got to conform to some degree in order to get to live. We're all got the mark of the beast on our hands or our head. The only way we can not have it is to just decide in our heart, say, God, if I had my way, money never would have been invented. And I am so looking for that day when no man has an advantage over another, and furthermore doesn't want an advantage over another through this evil thing we call money that just corrupted the hearts and minds of men. It's caused wanton destruction through the ages, the dubious wars and the crime and the just the misery out there, the homicides and the debt and the oppression and the misery, the burden. And then we got to throw them a few crumbs and, let them eat cake. So we set up a social welfare industrial complex to appease them so we don't have rioting. And when people start understanding it, and then now we're ready with the climate change thing and telling them, hey, well, this is why we got to keep you poor and we got to impose austerity on you, because if you were all prosperous, well, then you'd burn up all the energy. And, like Obama in Africa saying, it would overboil. Do you understand? I just really want people to understand that I'm not crazy. I'm not radical. I've just tapped into God's. He'll let you see it. You want wisdom? You ask him for a good thing. You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You ask him for a good thing. You want the right opinion. You ask him for a good thing. You're going to get it, man. Good measure poured out, and it just, bubbling over with knowledge. Okay, you're going to get it, and the empowerment that accompanies it, and it's going to be poured into your lap. And then you've got to go out and you got to use it. It's going to be traumatic. It might change your paradigm a lot, but you've got to accept the truth when it tells you this is the truth. And there's science and math and statistics to back it up. Okay, prove me wrong. Prove to me the system can't work the way I'm telling you it should work. That we should just see this thing from birth. We've got to be free from birth. That this planet belongs to all of us. We all have an inherent right from God to share in the bounty of this planet. Do you understand how we should be free? This is God's will. This is what is coming. To prepare yourself for the world of tomorrow, that's the world you got to prepare yourself for. Okay? It's that simple. So if you're not ready for it, get ready for it, because it's a coming. One way or another, sooner or later, at the hand of God is how it's going to happen. At the right time in history. And this is a continuum history, okay? It's not cyclic, it's linear. It's a fact. So it's going to happen. The new age is coming and the old age is going out. And you got to want that, you know? So I encourage everybody to want that above all else.